somewhere.
When you get up.
Okay, I think we can all leave the order.
5:36 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Additions or deletions?
I'm gonna have some questions probably under both old and new business.
Alright. And that's presented. Approval of the minutes. Any corrections?
There was a small change on the, manager's comments, the very last sentence, where it says that, the territorial road culvert east of Bird Lake, the permit has been submitted. It has not been submitted, not yet, we're working on it.
Oh,
So he just misspoke, last week or whatever the last
Working on the
one was,
permit.
yes. We've submitted, I think what he got confused with was we submitted the original design to Scavina, not the permit. And then he came back with other changes and things like that, so we have not submitted the permit yet.
We don't have the printed minutes in our packet, correct?
No.
I'm not seeing them. So I do, again,
I'll get them.
another issue I had with the minutes is that it said we were doing parking lines. I think it should have probably been pavement lines. Did I remember that right from my midnight reading of them? If I had it in front of me, I could double check. but-
It does say parking.
Yeah. So I knew that, we don't do parking lines, right?
No,
Not that I'm aware of. I don't see any out here in the parking lot, so.
pavement markings.
Yeah, thank you. See, that's pretty good since I don't have them in front of me.
I know, I first
And
I thought they were in there.
at midnight last
Yeah, I did.
And you still
No
remember?
wonder you're grouchy.
Grouchy, I don't know if I'm grouchy.
Minutes will stand.
No, you're
as
not
minutes.
grouchy. You're rather direct.
Yeah,
I am, there's no doubt about it.
okay.
Thank you.
Review and approve bills.
Thanks. Move to approve.
Support.
Are we approving all?
Well, just the bills and not the payroll.
Correct. Just the bills.
We'll get to that.
Alright. I guess I did have a question. We had a couple of, Michigan Cat came out and had to do something, and someone else had to come out and do something. Is that normal when we have our own mechanics?
It depends on what type of,
It might,
equipment.
And it might be something electronic.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with the loader, I thought it had to come out, it was
The
computer type stuff.
diagnostic.
Two of them, it's on page 4 of 8. Service call, breaking issue, 1494 for Michigan Cat. Service call, EGR problem, 7,468.
Yeah.
Cat has their own,
Cat has their own computer system.
Yeah.
What's EGR?
that's an exhaust gas recirculation valve.
I was like, I don't know what that
Right.
For
I will Google it.
$7,468.
Yes, that's an anti-pollution.
Did that service call, is most of that not labor, but it's a part?
I would have to grab the invoice to give you the correct
The part.
information.
And that's on one unit, not several
One.
units? I guess I'd be curious to see that bill, only because I was curious about that. The other one is the JX Enterprises, service call crank, no start, $2,982.
I have a service call on that piece of equipment. Cause I'd have to look at the invoice to tell you exactly.
Whatever, did you ever get the bill on the swing arm mower that had that new motor in it?
I believe that's been taken care of. I'd have to look, I believe so, I'd have to look into it.
I was kind of curious when all that finally come out to.
That would be, I can look into it.
I knew they got it back.
All of this computerization and electronics on these vehicles has become an expensive fix if something goes wrong.
Yes. And the downfall of it is a lot of manufacturers have their own software.
Yeah,
And they don't share it.
exactly.
There was a lawsuit Farm Bureau brought against John Deere.
Yeah.
So now farmers can either fix it themselves or get someone else to fix it.
The summer pavement markings for $97,844, is that the only bill we're gonna get on that?
No.
No. And that isn't grant funded, that's,
That's
we pay
correct.
every year?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'd say it's close to half the bill.
Okay.
It's around 200,000, give or take.
I think those were the big ones I had questions on. Again, it's been big ones.
Katie, don't send those to her anymore.
Everyone but that.
No, you wanna send them to her, please, send them to her. We don't want her showing up at a meeting and wanting to know where all this stuff is.
Do we have a motion and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second? Are we okay to vote? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Have Karen make that correction before.
I think those are all done.
It's back through there.
Done.
Better just check this is supposed to be permanent.
Or they just-
Okay, payroll dated August 28th for 140,234.39, September 12th for 133,140.58.
I move that we pay the payroll dated August 28th and September 12th.
I'll support the motion.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
You said these. Yeah, that's all. Okay. All right.
All did.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $2,090,862.74. Total receipts is $794,871.77. Total disbursements is $569,965.12. Bonds and escrow, $10,250. CD reserved for 2 trucks is $656,873. Ending available fund balance is $1,648,700. $646.39. Outstanding accounts payable is $66,624.33.
Any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, stand it, thank you. We can take a little bit of public comment, we got open bid at 10:15. Yes,
You, me, or somebody else?
I'm pointing at you.
Okay. Had a citizen came into our meeting the other night with a complaint. I sent you his email for review. Basically, it's, Poindexter's live on Hog Creek Road. Before Labor Day, some trees came down on the road. They called the road commission, they came out, they tried to move some of it, they couldn't because they didn't have any equipment big enough there. And they basically said, well, we're off on holiday, see you Tuesday. This was on Wednesday. The farmer ended up, his equipment wouldn't move it either. He did move one of them, but then he went back later and cut the other one up and moved it off the road. They never put signs out or anything, so anybody going down that road would have had no idea. And at night, they just crashed right into the tree. And obviously, it was big enough that they didn't have any, I mean, they pulled that crane down, I think, from up the road. That wouldn't do anything with it. So obviously, it was a big enough tree that would have done some damage to somebody. I just think it was irresponsible that no signs were put out, that they didn't take care of the problem, whatever. And the citizens were a little bit upset, and so I just wanted to communicate that to you, that I think that's a poor way to do things.
I'm a little bit upset, that should have never happened.
Well, that's kind of what I
We'll find out why that
So,
happened.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Not acceptable.
No,
The farmer did eventually go down and cut it up with chainsaws and get it out of the way, but
you wouldn't happen to know who it was, would you? Because we
they came out.
Yeah, I appreciate, no,
Do
no,
not
no,
know.
the farmer that cut it up.
Rick Poindexter, I think is his name. He owns that,
Sugar bush.
Sugar Bush, just south of, Watkins Road on Hog Creek Road.
Oh,
There's a
okay,
nice
yeah.
big farm on the west side of the road, that's who it was.
Because we appreciate that too, but it should have never had to happen.
Right.
We'll find out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Just curious, are you supposed to put the brine on the grindings on the road too? The grindings, I have grindings on my road.
The millings?
Millie?
Yeah, and they came down and they didn't come in front, they stopped where the dirt stopped, the gravel, and then didn't come the rest of the way down. And the trucks the day before were going through there and they were just turning around, but the dust was flying too, so,
On the Millies?
yeah.
Really? We'll check into that.
Cause I sat there and I can see right out my door and nobody came down, I heard them and beeping and everything else, but it didn't come down,
Okay, we'll check into that.
thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. Anybody else? No? No? Nobody? Almost 10:15. No, that was changed to 10:15.
Oh.
Sorry. We just found it out. It was published at 10:15. I'm assuming that was over Labor Day, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe the dates are in that email.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Is it part of the contract that they get Thursday off and Monday
Yep.
off?
The day
It's
before.
in the
holiday.
contract,
Okay.
so if they do it
Before
4
and day
days.
after.
But isn't there something in there for emergencies?
Yes.
Well, they got,
Yeah.
they probably are.
If it's
Yeah,
anything like that, someone should have been called in. Somebody's on
So
call.
yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
registration,
so-
but they-
No,
Doesn't matter if it's a holiday or not.
Right.
Nope.
Still do it.
I just saw the posting that you guys were closed as of Wednesday night, it's like, I figured with the 10-hour days and they get a 10-hour day off on Monday, I'm surprised they also got another 10-hour day off the day before. I was surprised that was in the contract.
something they negotiated years back.
Way back.
Right.
No, it doesn't
No,
matter.
no,
Yeah, we're gonna pay overtime,
right, but that's.
but you do what it takes to get the job done.
But if somebody goes down there and hit that tree, it'd been a lot more than overtime.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Right, then to not play it or anything.
Well, to not even call it in apparently, because it would have been, somebody would have come and done it.
So, anyway.
Back clock says 10:50. So, okay, we're ready. Let's open the bid. Hey,
So these are the bids that we're redoing from the last meeting. So did we have everybody respond this time?
I don't know if everybody did, but we have quite a stack of them. I think we only had 2 last time.
Okay.
So this is from Shannon's. And what information do you want me to give you? Because you want me to go through all the individual
So I think
things?
Bob wanted,
Right.
said to go through it, as in like say who placed the bid, then approved best interest of the road commission, and then afterwards Karen will do the bid tab on the
Right.
information.
So you guys just want to know the name of the company that placed the bid?
yeah.
Basically.
Alright. So that's Shannon's. Stone Co. Carr Brothers. Becker and Scrivens.
You're not here.
No.
Wait a minute.
These are the ones that who got sent out, it was posted online and everything, so it was available for whoever.
Van Brunt. This one says it in Birkin,
That's a lot more than what we did.
and that's it.
And there will be a bid tab sent to everyone.
Just would like to point this out, that we didn't have a bid from Siegel, but that might be because their name's spelled wrong.
Seagull.
These were emailed though. They were sent via
They should.
email and
And I actually.
Yeah, I had her call every single one, like who you.
Siegels were well aware of it.
I talked to Larry, and
Yeah.
he was well aware of it,
Karen talked to Aaron, so.
so.
But the spelling is wrong.
Yes,
I have them.
yes,
I
Are
think
you
that's-
sure, Heather?
yes.
I'm just checking.
Yep, well aware of that.
All righty, you wanna have a motion on accepting
So moved.
The best interest.
all bids? Is
Accept all bids.
there a second on that?
Or,
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. We'll get those bid tabs out as quick as possible.
If you want, you can leave the email address with Karen, you're still, she can leave it with you, so you don't need to wait for it in the mail.
Project manager, guess who that is today?
All right, are you guys, I think you guys are aware of the issue with the bat matter at the outside garages with Myosha?
I was unaware.
You were unaware of it? Okay, well,
That's,
we had a couple, association members brought it to our attention, or brought it to Myosha's attention. And Myosha came in here on the complaint, and they took Kevin and John up to the Camden and Litchfield and Jerome garages and inspected them. They were not told to go to the other ones. The complaints were made on those 2 garages. So they went through them, inspected them, wanted to see a bunch of paperwork and stuff like that here. And then they just followed up with like a conference call with them, and they said we will be getting 2 citations per garage. One of them is from the condition, and the other one is not having our employees properly trained on the hazards of that matter. And we were instructed that they have to be cleaned up and things like that. So John went and did, contacted, I don't know, there's a kind of a bid tab in here, 5 different companies maybe.
Correct.
And only one of them got back with us and gave us a quote or an estimate. And it's gonna be like $9,054 for them to clean and seal up all 4 garages and clean all 4 garages.
Is that why I got so many invoices?
Yes, there should be 1 invoice for each garage, and the price differences are, the Waldron and the Camden garage hasn't been touched yet. So those are the higher priced estimates. But the citations, they said, could be anywhere from $4,000 to $40,000 a piece. But they have 6 weeks to issue us the citations. And we have 15 days to accept them and do something with it. If we do not appeal the citation and we accept it right away, it's pretty much a guarantee that the fines will be reduced in half. So whatever they end up fining us, we could be looking at 50% of that price. So we're gonna accept it, because obviously we don't wanna pay out the butt for this. But if you guys approve it later on down in the agenda, they're scheduled to come in September 18th and start the cleaning process.
Who's citing us?
MyOSHA.
And, we have no wiggle room on this? Did we consult our lawyer on a high level to see if we should?
There's no wiggle room.
There's no arguing with MyOSHA. No.
They're cut dry. You're about like Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was brought to our attention, we went up and sealed the spots
Yeah.
and,
In the 2.
yes, in
Yeah.
those 2 garages, and did do some cleanup and stuff. But, then they still think it's not good enough, and we're still getting citations. And so John's being proactive and getting the company to do all 4 of them, and he's got, this company does the training as well, correct?
Correct.
So we're working at trying to get them in here, maybe on a safety day or something like that, to train all the employees on the hazards, so we should be covered for the future. Any other questions on that? Okay.
Okay, one other question.
Yep.
By us doing the remediation, they're not going to reduce some of the citations? Is
Not
that part of it?
necessarily, I mean, it doesn't sound like it. We don't know how their citations, like, we don't know what they normally would charge, so we have no idea how much we're gonna get charged. Are they gonna knock off $100 or $200? Maybe, I don't know, but it sounds like they're just gonna fine us and.
Well, sometimes when citations are given, they say, okay, this is the citation. If you do remediation
Yeah.
within a certain amount of time,
No.
they're gonna go away.
That is not the case, no. The only thing that we were told was if we accept the citations within 15 days, we could see a 15% reduction in the cost.
15 or 50?
50, I'm sorry, 50% reduction. Anything more to add on that?
I don't think so, I think you covered everything well.
No more questions on that? The sign,
We need a motion to get this done.
that's gonna be farther down in the new business, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, it's right on
Yeah,
the
it is.
first one.
Yeah, okay.
I had my menu covered up.
So, updates on the sign truck. We took it up to Custom Truck in Jackson, and they provided us an estimate for repairs for almost $27,000. It's not worth it.
That's just the boom, just the boom.
Yeah. And, several of the parts are at least 180 days out, and some of the other ones, there's no idea when we're gonna get them. So Bob's kind of thinking, maybe it's time to say bye-bye and look into getting a newer used one. Jackson County is lending us one of theirs, pending a boom inspection. Make sure the boom is up to date and inspected, and I think, was the company looking at that today?
They were gonna go down and get it, drive it up to custom truck and.
I think
Yeah,
we
today.
seen them leaving this morning about 8 o'clock, so as long as everything checks out in that, then we'll be able to use theirs with our operators
That's right.
eventually.
That's
As
right.
long as it passes all the inspection, our operators will be able to utilize the truck and we can get some of these signs fixed, cause right now,
No way
we can't drive any posts, cause we don't have a truck.
Did something happen to the sign truck or just old age? Old age.
Old age, and it was just a,
300,000.
nothing happened, it was just, I think, just parts stopped working. I don't think there was like an accident or any damage, it was just something stopped working and to repair it.
Isn't the truck 20+ years old?
Oh, yeah.
The-
quite
It's,
We've
it's,
had-
I
Yes.
think it's from the eighties, I think.
Yes.
They're-
Oh, it's even older than that.
It's almost, yeah,
Okay.
I was born in the eighties, I'm almost 40. There's over 300,000 miles on the truck, it's
Yeah.
old.
Yes.
Now Bob is suggesting pulling the boom off, and we have a flatbed and toolboxes.
Right.
Maybe
Good
use
idea.
it for a service truck or
Right.
something, we're not gonna get rid of it.
And there was
Yes, sir.
also talk of, adding one of those traffic attenuators or whatever
Yes.
to it.
To the
Because
back.
if it's out on a job and that's one of those things that goes on the back, that if it's hit or whatever, it absorbs the crash. It's an old truck, if it gets totaled, it gets totaled,
Or
you know?
you
Yeah.
put directionals on it.
Yes,
So
yes.
that people know which way they're supposed to go.
Yeah. But that's just something to put in your hat that we might be looking at having to purchase a new sign truck in the future.
That's to be expected.
The other thing, it's gonna be in your new business, Mannequin Smith Group for the territorial road bridges, they're the consultant that's doing all the inspection and testing on the bridge. And they submitted a change order for their fees. It's $32,420, and that covers from, I believe their original agreement ended, must be June 30th. Because as of July 1st until now, this $32,420 is the fees that they're expecting to have us pay or to finish Territorial Road. So, we recommend that you approve the amount and then approve Bob to sign it. Any questions on that?
Yes, why was the July 1st date selected if we thought these weren't gonna be done?
Because originally, do you remember their original, progress schedule that they submitted when it was bid was supposed to be done by then? I believe it was a June date. And then they reassessed it in like February and after the winter and stuff and realized, no, we're not gonna get it done in time. We need to add this extra time on. And then they didn't submit this until now for the extra fees. But that's why the original agreement was that early.
Okay, so are they spending extra time coming out to do things, or is this the same amount of work just over a longer period?
It's the same amount of work over a longer period, but it's also unforeseen things that have happened that, like additional testing that's been needed.
Okay. So there
So-
is additional work that is
Yes.
being done that's creating
Some of it, yes.
some.
And the project's not 100% complete yet, and as far as their fees, and we may be even looking at additional to this, because we just got an email saying that some of the HMA was out of spec, which is the asphalt. So they're gonna have additional testing that's not in this 32,000 number, that we might be looking at these additional fees in the future, but it's, okay, we have to almost accept it, because they're doing the work. Any more questions on that? Okay. The TMC plan, Transportation Asset Management Plan that we did, submitted it back in May. The state has finally reviewed it and accepted it, and we are good to go. The next one's not due till October of 2026. Second application of brine, they're supposed to finish reading, that's the last township for the second application, that's supposed to be finished this week. The only township that is doing a third application is Fayette, and they're supposed to start scraping for that the week of the 23rd.
I have a question on that.
Yep.
I was at Fayette Township, and my understanding is that the second brining was done after 3 days of rain. Is there any reason why that happened? And who watches that? Who should have adjusted that?
I don't know, I don't know if that was just timing, I don't know, I don't have.
Okay, let's re-ask the question. If we have 3 days of rain over the weekend and you're scheduled to brine on Monday, would we brine on Monday, or should that have been adjusted to Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday?
I can see where it could have been adjusted, depending on the condition of the roads. If it was a saturated rain and the brining was running off into the ditches, then yeah, we should have postponed it.
Well, I hear the grass died because of it.
Okay.
So that was what was happening.
Okay.
So my question is, I guess, follow-up question is how do we make sure that doesn't happen, or, is there procedures in place? So I think that's something. to
And that would be
follow up
a Kevin or Bob question.
on. Yep.
Shoulders, they finished Bankers Road and they're hoping after the fog seal and things slow down this fall, they're gonna try to get to Jonesville, North Adams, and Moscow Road for shoulders. Crack sealing has kind of just taken a back burner. They have not finished Reading Road yet, because of the seal coating and stuff, so they're still hoping the weather holds out and they can get what they wanted to get done. I think they've got maybe a half mile left of Reading Road, and then they were gonna run to Camden Road, and there's just a little bit between Tuttle and Waldron on Camden, and then they're gonna do some spots on East Diane Drive down at Lake Diane, and then I think there's maybe it's Hilltop Drive, it's one of the streets within that East Diane subdivision. Hog Creek Bridge, the crane and hammer are being delivered this week. It was originally supposed to be here, I think Tuesday, but I was explaining to Gary earlier that E.T. McKenzie has 5 or 7 different cranes and only one operator. So their crane was held up on another job, and so it just detoured it. So I believe the hammer was delivered yesterday, the crane is supposed to be delivered today. They're gonna assemble that and then start driving pile on Monday. It's only supposed to take a couple days for piling, but on Camden Road, they thought it was only gonna take a couple days and it took a week. So just keep that in mind that a lot depends on the soil that they're driving in and conditions and things like that. They might still be driving pile, hopefully not, but Al is confident that he'll be done by the end of the month, as long as there's no,
They're setting the deck
Unforeseen.
too, aren't they?
what's that?
The crane's setting the deck for us too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, Al has the knowledge now, he says at Camden Road, there was a lot of dead time. And he said now they know, okay, when E.T. McKenzie's in there driving the piling, they can be assembling the panels and doing things off to the side, where on Camden Road, they were just sitting stagnant, waiting. So there's gonna be a lot more productivity, I guess, working on both sides. So hopefully it runs a lot smoother.
So his belief is that if things work reasonably well, it ought to be done by the 1st of October and have the road open.
Yes, that is definitely the goal.
Yeah. Good.
Yep. Sterling Road from Cronk to Rainey, they're finishing the restoration this week. That'll wrap up that, other than the gravel. They're hoping, as long as they have enough drivers, they're gonna start hauling gravel on Monday for that.
Which township is that in?
That is Litchfield
That's what I
Township.
thought.
Yep. The seal coating, they have, hopefully they're close to finishing up now, they just have South Drive left to do. This morning, as of 6 o'clock this morning, that's all they had to do. And then I think they're gonna try and get rid of the rest of the material here in the driveway after the meetings get done, they're gonna clean that up. And then they're shooting to start fog sealing on Bankers Road on Monday. And we're trying a new thing this year, we're gonna make door hangers, and we're gonna go to everybody's doors on that whole section from 49 to the county line and hang little door hangers to let them know. Their plan is to start at 49 and work towards the county line. They're gonna do the first mile, spray it full width in one direction, turn around, spray it full width the next direction, and then wait for it to break. And it could be upwards of 45 minutes to an hour while that sits closed. Their suggestion to the public is not to drive on it, but if you absolutely have to drive on it, don't exceed 5 miles an hour. If you drive faster than 5 miles an hour, it's gonna go all over your car and it's a nightmare to clean off. So we're putting all that in the door hanger, so hopefully we can prevent some angry people. Genesee Road from Bunn to 99 in Fayette Township, it's kind of put on the back burner for now. Deburring is complete. They still have ditching on the north side and a couple cross tubes to do, but they're gonna get to that after fog sealing is done. Grader training is scheduled for Monday. They're gonna do Black Bridge Road from M34 to Bowdish Road. The M99 culvert replacement between Burnt and Camden, there's no new news on that. It's still, the Drain Commission's planning to rebid it for construction next year. So we'll just have to wait and see what works with them. The railroad projects, Gary has had some questions about that. I reached out to Troy at the Indiana Railroad, and he said that McCullum will not be constructed until next year. And the one that we just had the DSTR for is on Quackenbush, east of Sand Lake Road, and he said there's a good possibility that one will get constructed next year as well. He said a lot of times, and I don't know if this is what happened on McCullum, but he said a lot of times when consumers has a lot of work to do to get power to the location, it can take up to 2 years to get them to do their stuff. Luckily, he said Quackenbush doesn't have much. There's a power pole right there at the railroad, so there's not going to be much work done for them, but possibly that could be the hang up on McCullum that's taking longer. They have more work for consumers to do. And I think he said that the Quackenbush one, he still has to bid that. He hasn't even put it out to bid, but he says he should be able to put it out to bid in the next couple months.
McCollum has been put out to bid.
Yeah, that's the way I understood it. He said that is set for construction next year. I think maybe, I know some of you are aware of it, the tree at the corner of Straight and Mosierville Road, I think you talked to Kevin about it. We got some more messages through Facebook or whatever, and I reached out to Kevin and Bob, and John is assembling quotes to hire it done. It's a very, very, very large oak tree. It's dead, and it's too big for our guys to handle efficiently. So we're looking at quotes. I think at this time you only had maybe one.
I don't have any yet.
You don't have any in. Okay. So we're trying to get some quotes on having that taken down. So hopefully that can be taken down in the next month or so, and that will make those people happy. The countywide pavement marking, all the center line and edge line is complete, except for like our fall projects, things that are getting chip sealed or fog sealed. They're gonna come back and do that when the projects are done. Special markings like your railroads, your stop bars, school crossings, those are all gonna start next week. The Territorial Road, east of Bird Lake Road, I talked about that a little earlier, but Scavina made some changes again, so we have to adjust the drawing. And I've reached out to Charlie, and they were having issues with their CAD license expired, so they were hoping, he said, it's only gonna take them about an hour to tweak the design, and then I'm gonna work with Charlie. I've got probably half of the permit done, but the rest of it's like above my pay grade, it's engineering talk, so I'm gonna have Charlie help me finish the rest of that and get that submitted, so hopefully, I don't know if it's gonna be something that's gonna be able to be done this year. A lot's gonna depend on the size of the culvert and how long it takes them to build the culvert and get it to us. Really depends on the weather, how nice of a fall and winter we have, whether we can get it done this year. I hope to, because as soon as that bridge is open, it's gonna get a lot more truck traffic, and going over that culvert, I don't wanna see that part of Territorial closed because the culvert fails.
Right.
But it's kind of out of our hands right now. The Elm Road Bridge. Unfortunately, the lady that we hired to do the hydraulic study or hydrology study, she did it, but realized that it's not gonna work with it's called a high 8 study. She has to do the HEC-ROS study, which don't ask me the difference, I don't know, one's simple and one's way more complicated. And of course, it's the complicated one that we need. So she has a whole list of additional points that she needs collected at the structure site. And I talked to Charlie about it, and he said it's too much for them right now to take on. It's a good, solid 10-hour day of points for surveying. He said him and their workload trying to get their federal aid jobs done and stuff, it's not gonna happen. So he said, reach out to some of your local surveyors and just get some prices. So I sent emails to Lazinski, Wolverine, SME, and Mannequin Smith Group, because those are all, I didn't reach out to just local surveyors. I want to get somebody that has an engineering background and does stuff with these hydraulic studies. Lazinski no longer does topo. He's our county surveyor. So he's not even gonna submit a price. I did get one for Wolverine. It was around $2,600, give or take a couple hundred. He said he's concerned when he gets out there because what's making this specific structure so complicated is the railroad bed that runs adjacent to it. That's adding a whole nother aspect to this. It's not just a bridge replacement or culvert replacement, a normal one out in the middle of nowhere. It's got this railroad to deal with too. So the guy from Wolverine said a lot's gonna depend on if some of these points are, buried. They have to dig stuff up, they have to go cut brush, they have to get a watercraft in to get shots down the river. Cause she's wanting shots like 1,000 feet downstream, upstream.
Down the river.
What's gonna
There's probably no water in it today.
Well, this Wolverine guy hasn't been there. This is just what he said to me. So, because I was asking him, I'm like, is this worst case or best case scenario? He said that $2,600 price is in the middle. He says it shouldn't be but a couple $100 either way. SME I have not heard from at all. And Mannequin Smith Group, they're the ones that are doing the engineering on Territorial Road. They said they're definitely interested in it and are working on a proposal, but I have not gotten anything. So at least the 2,600 gives us an idea, where we're at. Territorial Road bridges, good news, they're opening tomorrow. John went down this morning and did like the punch list walkthrough with them. And everything looks good. There's a couple things that came up, and Gary brought it to our attention too, but on the northeast side of the east bridge, it drops off quite a bit, and there's no guardrail. And there was no guardrail in the original plans. So the guy from Mannequin Smith that was there is supposed to reach out to MDOT and see, because it's all based on their slope. If it's a good enough slope, then we'll be fine without it. If it's not, then we're gonna have to add it, but that should not detour from the opening. Everything, the pavement marking scheduled today, they were supposed to be here at 8 o'clock, but John said they hadn't shown up when he was down there this morning. But they are supposed to get it painted. We've got a portable stop sign put down there for now, because we didn't have a clear misdig to put the signs in. But Monday, we'll put in all the necessary signs that have to be there, but it's supposed to be open tomorrow, which is a month early from what their projected date for the project was supposed to be. 2024 safety project. The centerline rumble strips are all done. They did the recessed edge lines and center line. They've got all of it done except for bankers from 49 to the county line, which they can't do anything till after we fog seal that. And then probably, he didn't give me a road, but halfway between 127 and 99, they got to, in one direction, recessed. But they had to pull off last night, and they're gonna pull out for a couple weeks and come back because it was getting too hot. The recess, what they do is they grind a groove that they put this wet reflective paint in so that when the plows go over it, it doesn't scrape off those beads of the pavement marking. So when they were grinding these grooves, it's on chip seal, and that emulsion was getting hot, and it was sticking and gumming up their vacuum tubes, and then it was leaving the grindings in that trench, so they couldn't paint it. So they were gonna bring a broom down or a vac truck, but when they found out that it was gumming up the tubes of their vacuum, they said, we're just gonna back out. They still have to wait till we fog seal and stuff like that anyways, so they'll be back in a couple weeks when the temperatures cool down to like 70s or something like that, and they shouldn't have any issues, but they've got most of it done, I would say. And then, 2025 federal aid project, still working on the grade inspection plan for that. And, I think he told you guys what that was last board meeting, didn't he? The 2-inch overlays on, Concord Road from 12 to Sterling, Herring from 49 to Cronk, and Reading from Kelly to Long Lake. And then we actually have like a 7-year plan, and it's all on our all-season network. We're planning to do a 2-inch overlay on 33 miles over the course of the next 7 years. So that should affect our overall pacer rating as well. But that is also pending no roads fall apart elsewhere, you know. But we're trying to we can do more of a 2-inch overlay, more miles of that as opposed to a couple miles of crush and shade. So it's around 5 miles a year is what we're working towards.
So is any part of Waldron Road on any of that?
No, because it's not all season. Now, there's not to say that we can't do some type of fix with our own crew, like we did on Bankers Road, but most of Waldron Road needs crush and shade. And we're trying to preserve our all-season routes, keep them nicer for longer, instead of, because we've hit up, I think, Montgomery Road and Camden Road for sure with the crush and shapes, and you're only able to do a mile or 2 a year. And to be able to pave 5 miles and get more higher pacer ratings is better than doing these crush and shapes that are just beating us to death on the cost. So we know Waldron Road, that's in our heads, but it's going to be very expensive to work on Waldron Road. But we are considering it.
You don't think that we can do 2-inch overlay on, let's say, Waldron Road from Addison Road south to Prattville Road, and
I don't
rather
think
than
so.
have to, I mean, if you have to do a crush and shape on that entire length of road, it will take us 20 years to get there.
Absolutely, that's the problem.
And
that's why we've been Band-Aid fixing it with like wedges and chip seals, because we can get by with patching the bad spots and chip sealing over. It's not the right fix, because if you understand a little bit about the pacer rating scale, 4s and below are structure failures. It means that the structure is shot, there's no foundation of the road. So you're just Band-Aiding by putting anything on it. Our all-season routes are not necessarily structurally messed up. So we can add a little bit of extra material to them and beef them up per se. Waldron Road, that whole stretch is a structural failure. And you're not going to be getting the best bang for your buck. Yes, we could put 2 inches on it, but you're just putting more weight on a failed soil beneath it, and it's just going to deteriorate that much faster. That's the problem that we're running into. A lot of these roads are at 4s or below. Most of them are 3s and 2s, and you can't slap 2 inches on it and it'll be good for maybe 2 years, and then you'll start seeing that reflective cracking. You'll start seeing the sinkholes, or it's not going to stand up to the traffic. So that's why we're not fixing those roads that need to be crush and shaped. We're going to have to do probably Band-Aid fixes with the wedge and chip seals to fix roads like that until we can afford to do more crush and shapes.
that's not in the foreseeable future.
No. Nope.
And as much use as that road gets by, you know, farmers hauling grain to elevators in Prattville and Waldron.
Yep.
It's not a good deal, and it's, you know.
That's all I have. That completes my update. Sorry.
That was a lot.
Sorry.
No, that was a good report.
You did well.
That was more than we usually get out of Bob.
Well, sorry. I'm sure I'll hear about it.
No, you won't from us.
Well, we'll
Your
just
eyes
tell-
all glazed over halfway through it.
We'll just tell Bob how well of a job she did compared to him.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Talking with Mark Wiley, and he said that, the brine was put on Hicks Road in the morning, and it rained a tremendous amount in the afternoon, and he's dealing with all kinds of dust. Is there any possibility of Hicks Road being rebrined?
I can ask. The whole section of Hicks Road, or is there a certain from where to where?
Well, he's got his hand up.
That whole township, they brined it, and we got them monsoons like for 2 days, we got 5 inches of rain, right after the brine was put on.
And this is Reading Township,
Allen,
Allen Township?
I mean, the whole thing, you might as well not even been done.
Wow.
I mean, you know, it's kind of unforeseen you get that much rain, that's what I had in my rain gauge, 5 inches.
Yeah, that happened.
So, yeah, it just completely
I guess
washed
you
it
could
all out.
check in to see if they could reapply or something.
Yeah, I'll look into it and see.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ken Ben said that's the worst he's ever seen that road, is what he told me.
Yeah, I went down the other day, it was dusty. Oh, yeah, one other thing, McCullum Road, Woodbridge Township said that McCullum Road was washboardy. And they wondered when they were gonna scrape it or send a motivator down it.
McCullum Road in
Did you do a
Woodbridge
service
Township?
request?
Pardon?
Did you do a service request? for
No,
that?
I didn't do a service request, this was
Well, yeah,
not yet.
yeah, cause then they'll be aware of
He
it.
said it was in Woodbridge.
The column would be, isn't that Camden?
Yeah, that would be Camden,
Okay,
it's off of
Camden.
Montgomery.
Okay,
And that's
off-
blacktop, that's a blacktop
It's
road.
right, there, and that's blacktop, unless you're talking that little touch
that little, that's what he was talking about.
from the east village limits of Montgomery to Grant Road.
Yep. That's what it isn't even a mile, is it?
Half a mile.
Yeah. That's what they was talking about.
Anything else for Heather?
Nope, other than that, that's all I got.
I guess I would like to say, that McCullum Road from Montgomery west to the county line, that's about a half a mile stretch. And that is primary road, it's a blacktop road. And the township board has been asking for 2 years to have that repaved. It becomes Southern Road in Branch County, and they repaved that entire stretch a couple of years ago. You know, and so I was at their meeting last night and they brought it up again, and I said I would bring it up today. And I would hope that that's something we could do in 2025. You know, that half a mile shouldn't cost us that much money, and that's, you know, a major route for those people who live in southwest part of the county to go to Coldwater.
It is a primary road?
I talked to Gary a little bit about it before the meeting, and I said maybe we could do something like we did on Bankers Road
Right.
with our own forces and just, you know, put an 1.5 or 2 inch lift on it, and I'll bring it to Bob and Kevin's attention and,
Okay.
yep, and see if that would be a possibility.
New business, approved for May to execute Hillsdale contract. We need a motion. for
I
that.
move that we
Support.
approve the manager to execute the Pestway contract to get rid of the bats.
Any discussion?
So my question is how come they all read invoices if this is a quote? I mean, invoice sounds like it's already done.
Yeah, it was an error on their part when they sent it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it has to be, yeah, yeah.
There you go. Again, when I was reading this at midnight last
I
night, I
know,
thought it was
I
already done. It's like, wait a minute, these are invoices.
You
At
know,
least we can't change the price now.
No.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
No,
yeah, no
they-
kidding.
They signed that already.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried, approved. $32,420 increase for Manion and Smith Territorial Road
Thanks,
Bridge.
John.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So,
That's a hard one.
support.
That's a hard one.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same. Next one is, Manion and Smith change order number 1, authorized manager to sign. Sounds like to me we should have done that one first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Support.
Any discussion on that? If signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approve Title VI annual form, authorize manager to sign. You wanna explain that to him?
This is something that gets done every single year. The Title VI is, it's with MDOT. It is basically saying that we will not discriminate against, like, if we had a road closed that went to a hospital, we would have everything marked and a route to them. If we didn't, that would go against the Title VI. Or if we, this is like when I called, because I didn't know what this was last year, the man that explained it to me is like if we were in a city and there was a lot of Spanish speaking people and we had road stuff closed, but it wasn't in Spanish, that would be discriminating. Those were the examples. So this is, if Bob signed it, he's the one that is in charge of this, so to make sure we don't do that, and
So it's on his shoulder.
it is on his shoulders.
So get him to pay for it?
We don't, it don't cost any money.
Oh.
It don't cost any money.
The only way it costs money is if we don't perform.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes, because that affects with our MTF that we get every month. If we don't have this, we don't get money.
We probably don't approve it.
I move we authorize the manager to sign it.
I'll support it.
And I just hand wrote on here, but when I do fill it out, I type it in. I just wanted you guys to see what information was in there.
All right, any discussion on that? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, before we even do anything, do you even wanna do anything with
The contract,
township contracts or just hold off till Bob comes?
let's hold off
So
till
we
Bob
can
comes.
explain it.
Let's table that, please.
So I won't be here.
Awesome.
You're gonna do it.
Kathy, you can send me your email on
That'll
You can
be
call
enough of that
in.
one.
Well, I will be out of the country. I will not be checking my email. I will not be reading this stuff before the
it. You
next
can do
meeting.
that before.
Are you gonna
Are you
call in?
sure?
No, I am not calling in from out of the country. Not happening.
That'd be an
I am
expensive
truly off the
set.
grid.
Well, good for you.
Okay. Hey, did anybody want, maybe the rest of the board don't know about our onboard firefighters?
About what?
Our
Do you want
onboard
to explain?
firefighters?
Sure.
Okay, or
I
I
will.
can.
I will. So we were doing pavement marking on Bankers Road, and I had text Chris Smith. He's my inspector. He's been doing a fantastic job doing the inspection for these projects this year. And I had texted him to meet me at the golf course because I had to go over some pavement marking testing stuff that we were gonna do. And I sat there and it was like 18 minutes had went by. What the heck, where is he at? And he came pulling up to me and he was like, I would have been here sooner, but I was putting out fire. I'm like, what? Like a for real fire? He's like, yeah. He's like, I was driving down Bankers Road and there was a trailer with flames shooting up the side of it. He stopped and literally put out this fire. I don't know if he was the one that called the fire department, but he said, I asked him, I said, is anybody in there or are they okay? He says, well, their dogs are there, but he says, I got it out for now, but I think it's in the wall. But the guy, I guess, called in the next day and talked to Karen, I think it was, and said that because of him, it wasn't a total loss. So I definitely think he should get some recognition for
Yeah.
that.
He's an employee of ours?
Yeah.
He is an
One of our
employee of
drivers.
ours, he's a truck driver, and he does all of our, federal aid inspection for me.
He
But
found
yeah.
the garden hose and
Yeah.
put it up,
Yeah,
so.
And it was on the radio.
yeah.
It was on the
Not
radio
his
this morning.
name, but it was on the radio
Yeah.
that a road commission
Is there any
employee.
kind of a commendation that we could?
I don't know, but I think it deserves looking into it.
Yeah.
The
I think
911
so.
center did that.
Yeah, okay.
Our central dispatch.
Yeah.
I could always call and ask,
Yeah.
because I know that they've done stuff for citizens like that before.
I mean, as a board, we could make a motion thanking him for his actions.
Are we gonna have Bob look into that and come back to the recommendation?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it that way.
Okay. Take floor to public comment.
I have
Oh,
something
sure.
I would like to make comment on, okay? What I'm gonna talk about here, didn't affect most of you, but 2 years ago today, I had 3 friends who were killed in a bad auto accident in Kent County. I'm talking about the Rutledge family from Waldron. And a week after that accident, my wife and I went